What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with Tech Daily, and in this video, we'll be doing a camera comparison between the new Samsung Galaxy S10e and the iPhone XR. Now, I actually did a video comparing everything else between these two phones already, and I'll leave a link on screen and down below in the video description if you want to check that out. But for this video, we'll strictly be talking about the camera features and doing some side-by-side picture and video comparisons to see which phone might serve you better. Now, these are the cheapest phones from both Samsung and Apple right now, starting at $749 for both of them. But they are very different in my opinion, especially when it comes to the camera hardware and features. So first things first, let's talk about the specs. The iPhone XR packs just one single lens around back. It's a 12 megapixel shooter at an f1.8 aperture with optical image stabilization, HDR, 4K video at up to 60 FPS, quad LED dual tone flash, and a couple other capabilities that I'll touch on in just a second. The Samsung Galaxy S10e, on the other hand, has a dual lens setup around back. The main lens is a 12 megapixel shooter at an f1.5 aperture with OIS as well, HDR, 4K video at up to 60 FPS, LED flash, and dual pixel autofocus. Now, at least when it comes to just the specs of the main cameras on these phones, they're pretty similar overall, and it's tough to give an advantage to either device at first. But the S10e actually offers a number of things the XR does not have. The first is a secondary lens around back. This is Samsung's new ultra-wide angle camera that offers a 123-degree field of view. The 16 megapixel f2.2 lens is available not just on this S10e, but on all of Samsung's new S10 devices this year, and Apple currently has no phone in their lineup that offers this lens. In practice, this means that the S10e has the potential to capture way more in a given situation from the same distance than you would be able to get with the iPhone. For wide landscapes or photo opportunities where you might not be able to take a few steps back to capture everything, the extra lens has the potential to really take in a lot, and especially in situations where you're trying to cram a lot into a single picture, maybe a large group of people for example, you can do that with ease. The addition of a wide-angle lens on the S10e is a huge advantage over the iPhone XR. My only slight complaint with this camera is that you kind of have to pick your shots carefully with the wide-angle lens. Things can get a little distorted depending on the subject, which does happen with really any wide angle obviously, and I can live with it, but it is something to keep in mind. And the wide-angle lens isn't the only feature the S10e has that the iPhone XR does not. When it comes to taking portrait pictures, or live focus shots as Samsung calls them, that sort of style of picture with a blurry background and shallow depth of field, with the rear camera, you can only take those styles of pictures with people as the subject on the iPhone XR. You can't take shallow depth of field pictures with any objects. With the S10e, you can take live focus shots of basically anything, as long as the camera interprets it properly. If you're really into this style of photography for anything other than people, the S10e is the only way to go. You simply just don't have that option with the iPhone XR. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and check out some side-by-side picture and video samples here with both of these phones. I tried to capture a decent array of different scenes, at night, in good lighting, and bad lighting, and I also tried to get a lot of color as well. Everything is set to the default settings as far as the camera apps, so everything is as fair as possible. And because I always get a few comments asking, yes, the pictures are correct as far as the labels, I triple check that. Now, personally, overall, I think I prefer the pictures from the S10e. I found that you do lose a bit of detail with the XR for whatever reason, which I think is pretty obvious when we look at a couple of these pictures of the garden here. And I think the S10e also did a better job in low light overall as well. The iPhone tends to wash things out a bit, and there's definitely a bit of noise. In this picture at the Bellagio fountains, you can actually see a tree overhead that the iPhone captured that the S10e did not, but the rest of the picture overall looks much sharper on the S10e. As far as color accuracy, I think the iPhone did a better job producing more true-to-life representations of the scenes. With this picture here, you can really see just how saturated the S10e made everything. Once again, the detail is there on the Samsung picture, but the entire scene looks more natural and true to life, I think, with the iPhone. I'll let you guys enjoy the last couple of pictures here, and you can sort of critique them however you'd like in the comments, and then we'll talk a bit about the front-facing camera. So as far as the front-facing camera hardware, the iPhone XR has a 7-megapixel f2.2 lens with HDR, portrait mode, and 1080p video up to 60 FPS. The S10e has a 10-megapixel f1.9 shooter with dual-pixel autofocus and HDR, and 4K video recording capabilities at 30 FPS, which is an upgrade this year across the entire S10 lineup. And this is once again not something you'll see on any of Apple's iPhones. Both phones offer that portrait selfie shallow depth of field option, and they both have a few software features like stage lighting with the iPhone and some weird blurry tunnel effects on the S10e, neither of which I consider any advantage or deciding factor. In practice, just taking standard selfies here, I found that they obviously do a pretty good job. The pictures these phones produce with portrait selfies I think are very close overall. The S10e this time around actually looked a little less saturated, and skin tones I think are a little softer as well. This is actually an improvement though. When the phone first came out, I know a lot of people were a little upset about just how much Samsung was softening these pictures even without any sort of beauty mode. They definitely fixed that, and I think it looks great overall. So there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little camera comparison. Obviously, I'd love to know what you think of these phones and which pictures you prefer, so definitely let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, be sure to follow Tech Daily on Twitter and subscribe to the Tech Daily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.